Hey guys, it's Tizzy time. And first and foremost, how is everybody? That's first. How's everybody doing? I feel like I haven't done this in forever. So yeah, super long that I've done a podcast. I feel like the last podcast I did was just my welcome back podcast, and then it's been a long time since then. But how's everybody doing? Happy New Year! A new year, new me, like how y'all be saying. I be saying that too, but so let's start it off with a few life updates and my goals for the new year, and then I'm gonna jump into a story time, and then I'm gonna talk about new and upcoming things for the Chantizzy Podcast, Chantizzy TV, and any other syndicates of the Chantizzy conglomerate that I'm going to be talking about. And then I'm talking about a forum that I'm holding. Hopefully, I can hold it next week. Of course, dealing with multiple people in various schedules, it can be hard to collaborate. But I'm hoping by next week, the end of the month, I can go forward and do my Girls Time Forum podcast, which I'll talk more about too. So let's jump into it. Life updates. I'm still in this slow ass state that I live in. Yeah, life is cool in the South. No complaints. I really like the environment. For those of you who don't know, I moved to Georgia almost a year ago, last May, to go forward and get a job. I worked that job for about 3 months before starting another job, and then worked that job 3 months before finding another job, and then quitting on my last position. Yeah, and then working some odd jobs here and there. But one thing that has kept me humble and not stressed and not angry about the whole leaving a job to go to another job and not having longevity is that it just gives me, I guess, a comfort to know that these are places I know I didn't want to be in, or places I didn't see myself being in long term, long consistency basis. So I'm not mad at it. I've been actively interviewing too. The interviews have been pretty sucky. I remember I did an interview last week sometime. I had 4 interviews with this company. And the last day of the interviews or whatever, like a week later, the lady who's in charge of I guess like hiring and HR or whatever, emailed me and was like, hey, the CEO, whatever, would love to speak to you. He's going to call you either before 4 or after 6. I'm like, oh, they're definitely offering it to me. Da, da, da. Why did the guy call me and say, hey, we really liked you a lot, but we just decided we're going to just group up our 2 old positions and just make it one position? Like, I wish you jobs, or whatever you claim to be, companies, quote unquote, because everybody's not a company. Everybody wants to be a company, but everybody's not a company. You quote unquote companies, true word, from wasting applicants' time. As much as you feel like, oh, this is a job, we're looking to hire, you need a job. We all don't. A lot of times we apply to see if there's a more of a money opportunity, or if it's a better fit in the industry, but like those were neither of the case for me. Like, I took this job because ultimately I really liked the initiative and I liked the environment. But it just seemed like, a fallacy. It wasn't a real aspect of a company. It was just, hey, this is what we look like. This is what we can perceive in interviews, but this is who we truly are, which kind of sucks with jobs. I feel like God is just telling me, quit working for the man and get your own position where you can go forward and just do what you do, because you know how to do it anyway. And funny enough, I was on an interview last week, and one of the ladies were like, oh wow, it's just so hard to find somebody who could do it all in all aspects of digital media. Like, you can do content creation, you could do email marketing, you could do data analysis. And it's like, okay, so those who are in the comm field or in the marketing advertising field, you understand what it's like to be so well versed in your area that you have to pick up other aspects of the industry to just be as good as everyone else. So what do I mean by that? I ultimately mean it doesn't matter if you're a social media marketer, right? If you're a social media manager and you do everything within the social media field, to go forward and be able to also create the content that goes up, to write the copy, which is like the captions or whatever, or to go forward and study how many people engage or how many people reach. As far as like data analysis within social media marketing or management, that's a given. But to be able to be a graphic designer too, to be able to go forward forward and be a writer too. That's a lot. And in the marketing field, again, in the comm field, people don't realize how much of a rarity it is to also be in tune in the graphic design field, to be in tune in the writing aspect of the field, to be able to video and audio edit. Like, I literally do it all. To go forward and promote. Like, it's just like to have a certain set of skills to be proficient in this industry is very vital. It's very important. So it's just funny. You always get compliments about how well versed you are, and then your resume looks amazing, and you look like an incredible person on a piece of paper, and then you come to this point where it's like, all right, I'm so incredible, but why aren't you hiring me? And I feel like I finally cracked the code. These companies don't have enough to pay me. That's one. And then two, they want to see longevity in a company. Out here, it matters that you've been busting your ass for a company for 15 years. More importantly than it is, oh, you have 3 degrees and you have like 5 to 6 years in the field. But we need somebody who's worked 10 years, who got paid $20 an hour doing it for the past 10 years. And the only thing we had to increase is a title for them. So it ultimately like either leads a lot of companies to staff leaving and starting their own companies, which I have really observed in my time here, or just going forward and having people who feel like, all right, you're going to give me half-ass pay, I'm going to give you half-ass work. So it's just a lose-lose situation ultimately. But I don't want to dwell on that, but that's ultimately how I'm doing. I'm actively looking for a new position, while also not fighting, because that's bad terminology, but while also pursuing, that's a better word, pursuing my dreams and, trying to get this consultancy together, trying to build a website, trying to, start my YouTube. It's been a lot, but, I'm thankful. Last year, this time, I had nobody who I was doing social media work for, only Mizzy's cousin Drea, who I was doing, edits, and copy and etc. and, telling her what she should be posting on her platform. But besides that, like, I had no clients. Today, I have about 7 clients that I'm helping with their social media marketing and other aspects of social media, which is bananas because that was actually my goals for last year. My goal last year was to have upwards of 5 to 7 clients. And within 3 to 8 months time, I was able to fulfill those requiems. So really excited about that. I'm going to give myself a clap for that, because I, appealed to that goal and I was able to go forward and get it. So what I've been writing in my notes is a bunch of goals I have goals I have for 2021 and goals I have for this year. So I'm going to start with my 2021 goals, because I feel like, that year passed. Did I accomplish anything as far as it goes within 2021? And I'm looking for it. I'm literally scrolling. I have mad notes. Because I just have the worst memory, honestly. And that's what, the territory that comes with having a thyroid issue, some memory loss. But yeah, give me a second. I'm really looking. Where did it go? Maybe I should Google it. Like, they have the little Google it. I am laced. What I mean by, not Google it, but, type in your search tab where you could look for your 2021 goals. So I found it. The first goal was to learn French. I learned a little bit of French, s'il vous plaît, but not too much where I could hold a conversation. I know how to say bonsoir, je m'appelle Chantal, c'est bon, which is like, that's good, and like, my name is Chantal, and I know how to say like fool, like les fous, and bitch is chien, les chiens. So I got a little bit of it down pat. Bon appetit means very good, or enjoy your food, or good food, I think, or like good appeal or good appetite. I don't know, but I'm learning, so I feel like, it's more words than I know last year. In 2020, so merci. And then I said I would lose 50 pounds. I don't think I did that yet. I'm not even gonna lie to myself. I don't think I did that. I definitely didn't do that yet, but I'm working on it. Another one was get a job making $65 a year. I did achieve that goal, so that's pretty awesome. I also said to look pretty again, because I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but I feel like now that I've been in a relationship, like, I'm not saying I don't care about how I look, but I don't go so hard as I used to. Like, I'm still cute. I'm still very pretty. I don't know why I put in my notes, quote unquote, look pretty again. But I guess get back to a level where I was doing my makeup every day and dressing fancy every day. Y'all, last year I got up. I did it when I needed to. But as far as like every day, that wasn't happening. I've become very comfortable in my natural state, like no makeup, maybe an eyebrow done, a nice concealer under the eye, and my hair done. My hair always has to be done. Like, maybe that's what I meant by look pretty again, because all last year I got braids. I didn't even get my wigs. Anybody who knows me knows I love a frontal wig. Frontal sewing is my go-to. But frontal sewings cost money. I used to be paying almost like $500-$600 to get a frontal sew-in with the hair included, and then $50 every 2 weeks or every week and a half to get touch-up. So living in a house, I don't got money like that right now to be getting a frontal and a touch-up every week. So maybe that's why I said that. And at the time I was like renting, so I guess at the time I was putting my money towards home needs and furnishing my house more so than me looking pretty. Also said I wanted a Tesla. I didn't get to get a Tesla last year, but there's always this year. I'm still waiting for it. And then the last goal was to save for a house. I was able to save for a house and got a house. So I feel like 5 out of 7 is not bad, or 4 out of 6 is not bad. I think it was 4 out of 6. Let me double check. Yeah, 4 out of 6. So I thought that was pretty good. It's just passing, but it's not fully, achieving all sets. But that's the funny thing with goals. As much as you want to achieve it in a time frame, goals have no timeline. Just go after your goals and try to achieve them, or not even try, achieve them. But, don't rush yourself. It's always going to come when it needs to come for you to hit those markers. As far as like 2022 goals, I don't even remember what I put. This is why, okay. So these are my 2022 goals. I just found them, guys. 2022, I said I do not want to smoke anymore, only social events. I've been working on that. I feel like I've gotten better. I only do smoke at social events. But then there's times where, the flesh is weak. And, I need a little high real quick, a little giggly to not overthink. But, I'm working on that. Then my second one was no meat, a pescatarian diet. Another thing I have been trying to work on, but I have not been too heavy yet. Then I said no juice, only water. I've been very heavy with my water intake the past 4 weeks since I've come back from New York back home after Christmas break. I've been paying heavy attention to my water intake and what I'm drinking, so that's always good too. No juice. I haven't been drinking juice too often. Like juice and soda is a rarity. Like if I'm eating out, I'll treat myself like, oh, okay, I'll have a soda with my meal or juice with my meal. But at home, it's straight water. If I'm cooking, it's water. I'll cut some lime up, throw it in there, or some lemon, and have me like an infused water, which I've been downing lately. So that's a good aspect as well. I said less bread and starches. I ate bread today, so I'm kind of not doing the best with that. But before today, I haven't had bread in a while, so that's pretty good. Then less coffee. I haven't had coffee since the first week of January, so I'm doing pretty good on that aspect as well. Very proud of myself. 90 minutes of meditation, yoga, an hour of French, and an hour of the Bible. I was actually reading a few scriptures before I jumped on my podcast, so I'm on that aspect. Meditation and yoga, I do have to start heavily getting into that. And then an hour of French. S'il vous plaît. I need to do better, Awe. So, yeah. I'll do better with my French. I'll do better. Yeah, so... Aidez-moi. So, aidez-moi. If I do it, you do it. And then I said no more eating out, only dine in, or only order salad. Like I said, if I go out to eat or if I get fast food, I have to order salad. What I really do love in fast food, I must say, is the Chick-fil-A salad. Like, Chick-fil-A has me in a literal chokehold when it comes to their salads. Like, it's perfect. Like when I used to live in Jersey, my go-to was Wawa. Wawa used to make some amazing salads. When me and Mizzy actually drove back down from New York too, we realized that I think it's not Quick Trip, Sheets. Yes, that's the name of it. Sheets is also great for like made to order, like gas stations that are made to order. Wawa used to be our thing, but Sheets is pretty good too. I think Wawa got its concept from Sheets, but don't quote me on that because I seen a blogger get sued today by Cardi B for making false claims. So listen, Wawa, I'm not saying y'all copied. I'm just saying like you and Sheets have a lot in common, and Sheets is it's the South version of, or like the out of state, out of New York version, out of Jersey version of Wawa. Anyway, my other goals are to start saving towards my forever home. So I live in a house now and I love the house, but we all have our own concept of what we want our house to look like, our forever home, built up from the ground up. So I have an aspect of that. Ultimately, I want to live where I live for some time. I would say anywhere upwards of to like 5 years, God's willing. But in that time frame, I'm also hoping for something to pop off and I'm able to go forward and buy my dream home. So when I cross that bridge, I definitely want to start saving towards that. I said I wanted to handle 5 to 7 clients. I was able to go forward and do that, so that's pretty awesome. Number 3 was to be financially free. Still working on that, guys. Still working on that. Not financially free in the slightest. Number 4 is give back to my community some way. Definitely want to give back to the community. Still actively working on that. Take better care of my health, which I can do better, especially with my condition and, having one half of a thyroid. I should be doing way better with my health. Learn how to do my own hair, which I feel like is way more of a challenge than losing weight because, oh my gosh, I can't do my hair to save my life. Like I can do a pony. I could probably straighten it maybe, but I'm still trying to learn how to section and blow dry. I can't even do that yet, y'all. I also said learn new recipes, which I haven't actively working on. I had made this steak the other day that Mizzy thought was really good, and I made like the sauce for on top of the steak really good. Like I made it from scratch. I used like little jerk, a little lemon, a little bit of Chick-fil-A sauce. Like it was really good. Like and other stuff I used that I can't tell because then it wouldn't be a secret recipe. But it was really good sauce, and it definitely gave the steak a oomph. I also said I want to dedicate myself to my business more, which I definitely do. I feel like that's a given. I've been really heavily in comparison to previous years on my dream, working immensely, like immensely. So, just continue to do what I'm doing in that aspect. And that's just a little bit of me, and, life updates, goals, what I've been working on. I would love people to share and tell me what goals they've been working on and what they're thinking of and what's upcoming for them in the coming years, because we'd love to hear about that. I'm like, what comes in the upcoming years? That sounds like a book. What I mean is like, what is upcoming and this year for you. That's what I meant. Share what your goals and your dreams are for this year, or what you're planning to accomplish this year. And I know I always sound super giggly and giggy. Honestly, guys, like I'm just on a natural high right now. I'm just naturally happy. The last couple of months have been super hard. Like I don't like personally talking about what I go through or my struggle or what happened, because it's just like, it's not an announcement. I mean, if somebody asks me, I'll tell them, no problem. But I don't like announcing stuff that goes on in my life. People who know me know I'm a very open person. I'm just very talkative. I love to talk. I love to tell, what's going on. But over the years, I've learned, like, privacy is their best policy. Like I just feel, I know it's honesty, but I put privacy instead. I feel like over the years, my communication apprehension or my communication privacy has really been heavily influenced. When I say by communication apprehension, that means how apprehensive I am to talk to people, whether they're new or old. I feel like my communication apprehension has been lacking. I have no, the word is escaping me, but I have no, like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but I just have no pleasure. That's like the synonym for the word I'm looking for. I have no pleasure to, go forward and talk to people about my life, like, or what's going on with me or how I'm doing. Like, I just feel like since college, those questions are been so redundant, especially people. I hate when people be like, oh my God, how are you? Already knowing that they feel like they've heard something or, heard through the grapevine what's going on with you. Just tell me what you heard and I'll confirm or deny. So I'm a person who's very big on like privacy right now. I'm very apprehensive of who I tell my business. There's some close friends who I keep, news away from. And that's not on like a negative or positive tip. It's just like, again, I don't feel like it's an announcement. If you want to know, ask me. I'll tell you. But you're not just going to see me jump out the light and be like, oh my God, I got a new car. Oh my God, I got a new job. Like, if you see it, you see it. But as far as me announcing and posting on social about what's going on in my life for a narrative or to portray a narrative that's not there, I'm good. Guys, remember, I literally do this stuff every day. I literally am a social media manager. My major is literally strategic communication. I know what's being communicated falsely, and what's being communicated truthfully. I'm not a fool. I literally work on these platforms for a living. And not only in the concept of, appealing to consumers, but appealing to businesses as well. So it's just like, as much as we want to put on this picture like, oh, my life is so great, it's not. Mine isn't. And I'm not afraid to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, my life is wonderful. It's not. It's working towards being wonderful, I hope. And I pray in God's name. But as far as like putting on this facade, like, oh, everything is amazing, it's not. It'll get there, but a part of the growing process. Continuing on. Oh yeah, I wanted to jump into my story time. So this podcast is not going to be too long. I don't want to go around blabbering for an hour. I feel like that's redundant. At max, I want this to be like a 35-minute to 40-minute podcast where I'm just giving a spiel. So quick story time. It's so funny because I told my friend who I was telling a story time that I was going to be talking about it in my podcast. And I had recorded something. This is actually the second podcast I'm recording this week. The one I recorded earlier is very similar to this, but I just didn't like how I was dragging on and talking about nothing. So I just decided to re-record. Excuse me. Hiccups. But what I wanted to talk about on this platform, in this podcast, was just basically going forward and, talking about a story time of when I used to get drunk. So everybody who knows me pre-2017, because 2017, 2018 is when I really started smoking and becoming like a little pothead in comparison to previous years where I was really a drunk. I kind of started drinking heavily around my friends that weren't in college with me. I would say around like right before I went to Oswego. So like 19. And I remember I used to drink so heavy with my friend Doreen. Like we would get drunk. We would be the friends showing up to your party deady. But that's what I liked to do at the time. So let's fast forward, I believe a year after me and Doreen used to just be getting mad drunk. It was like 2016. At the time, I had just finished my 2 semesters in school. I was about to graduate with my undergrad degree, and I had just come back from school. Around this time, my cousin was in school still, and my friend was in school as well. They were a year younger than me, and we were just talking about this party we were going to in Manhattan Beach, which is in Brooklyn. Well, during the time, again, I told you guys I was an alcoholic, so I'm like, oh my God. And mind you, at the time, I was 20 years old. I wasn't even of age yet, so I was using Alexis's ID at the time, because me and Alexis kind of look alike, to go buy liquor and stuff and drink. So that night before, I was just talking to them like, oh, I'm going to buy mad liquor. We're going to get mad drunk. Then when we done, we're going to go to the diner and eat and da-da-da-da. Just had a whole plan on what I was going to do. So I go to the liquor store before going to my cousin's house. I get ready at my cousin's house, but I buy like mad liquor. I buy like Bacardi Gold. I buy like I bought Bacardi Gold. I bought Amsterdam, and then I bought like little nips. And then at the same time, I had bought like from the corner store Chasers, but the Chasers were like Mike's Hard Lemonade and like the little Jack Daniel's soda, whatever. And was chasing Bacardi Gold like a psychopath, chasing Bacardi Gold and New Amsterdam with Mike's Hard Lemonade, thinking I was going to be okay. And mind you, drinking on an empty stomach, I don't even think I had eaten that day. So I went forward, drank OD, and this was the same time my shit came out by A Boogie, cause the song was playing in the car before we left, and the song was so redundant to me. Like I wound up hating this song because of this story and this and a moment too. Um, but we wound up getting to the party. I think we was at the party for 45 minutes before I blacked out. Like, it's so funny. My friend had mad pictures and videos of me, and I had no clue that I was even that drunk. By the night's end, I had, I guess, unblacked out or whatever, and I had peed on myself. I had lost my shoes. I had lost my phone, my wallet, my ID, Alexis's fake ID. I mean, Alexis's fake ID. The ID was real, but my fake ID that was Alexis's real ID. And it sucked because it was the day before I was supposed to, I mean, the weekend before I was supposed to go on vacation. So I had no phone, no ID. And at this time, you need an ID to get on a plane. So I didn't have an ID at all. But thank God at the time I had gotten my license that year, I had still had my permit, and my permit didn't expire till 2021. So I was pretty good with my permit until, last year, technically. So what made me happy about that was that I went, because your permit usually lasts 5 years. So got my permit in 2016, it would have expired 21. I wound up getting my license the same year, and your license expires 3 years. And then once you renew it, it expires in 7. So I went forward, did all of that, replaced my ID, and then I started looking at the footage. Again, I told you my friend took pictures and videos, and I was ODing. Like, I had walked up to some guy and was crying. I was like, oh my God, I thought you died. Like, how do you go up to somebody mad drunk and say you thought they died and got shot? Like, Chantel, what's your problem? Then my cousin was mad at me because I kind of got her phone lost too. I was so drunk, I kind of cursed my cousin's best friend out too. Like, I don't want you to drive me home, and like jumped out her car. Like, I was wilding, guys. I want to tell the story because I could look back and really laugh at it. At the time, I was upset. I thought my cousin was being fake. Thought my friend was being fake. Like, we had this whole riff on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, people really don't be your friend. I thought we was family. Just being a dramatic ass, unmatured Aries. And then my cousin, his little sister, commented, was like, don't talk about my sister like that. I don't care. But instead of fighting with my cousin, I wound up, like, my cousin's little sister, I wound up blocking her because I didn't want to fight with her. Like, I love my cousin's little sister. I love my cousin, but her little sister is like my little sister, So it kind of blew my, so I was just like, block. And then my cousin's best friend, who I yelled at and jumped out her car, commented too. And I was like, don't talk to me. Like, I never liked you. I always thought you were slow. Like, being a bitch. Like, I was really nasty for no reason. And I wound up blocking her. And then my friend, who, was also, like I told you, the friend who took pictures and stuff, she was my friend. My cousin, basically, me and that friend went to the same high school together, and we known each other because we grew up in the same town together. But my cousin had met her, and we all became common friends. So my friend wound up commenting, was like, Chantel, you're doing all of this for no reason. You need to stop drinking because your drinking is affecting you mentally. You really think we're the problem when it was you. I hope your friends in college could come pick your drunk ass up when you fall again. And I was such a little dramatic bee about it, like literally a bee, not even a bitch, but like a little bee, annoying and buzzing. Cause I made a whole big to-do when I got back to college. That was like my first post of the year, like, oh, me and my friends will pick my drunk ass up. Like, and just was mad petty. And now, like 5 years later, 6 years later, I can really look back at it and laugh, because at that time, being a 20-year-old, being so immature and not realizing how detrimental that drinking was to me and how bad it could have been, it's crazy. And I only got drunk like that on 2 other instances. I got drunk like that at a party in college where Alexis came and picked me up. And then one time, 2 summers ago, I think 2020 summer, or was that 2019 summer? I'm like 2020 summer. 2020 didn't even have a summer. 2019 summer, I got super drunk on a boardwalk with my mom and wound up throwing up in her Audi. But after that, like, I've never gotten drunk again. Like, I know my limits now. I'm a person now who won't drink too much. Like, a lot of my friends are drinkers. Like, they can drink, they can smoke, they can be functional doing both. Me, it's either one or the other. And if I'm gonna do both, I have to make sure that I smoke before I drink. Because if I drink before I smoke, it's done. I'm throwing up, I'm spinning, I don't wanna go out anymore. Like, I'm good. But as far as drinking goes, like, this year, like, in totality, I want to stop drinking. Alcohol no longer serves me in a way where I feel like I need to have it at events. Like, I don't even want to drink at events. That's the crazy thing. Like, if I go to an event, I'll be like, oh, I want to get high at the event, or I want to smoke before, smoke after. But as far as, like, going to an event to drink and get mad drunk, I refuse. I think it's PTSD of all those situations where I just don't want to be the drunk friend. I'd rather be the high crackhead friend before I'm the drunk, unstable, the drunk girl. Like, it's one thing to be a high girl, like, ugh, that's manly. I'd rather be looked at as manly than a sloppy drunk girl who could be easily taken advantage of. It's one thing to be a drunk man, but to be a drunk woman, like, that's... And my dad always said that to me. He's like, it's nothing more turn-offish or more, like odd looking than a drunk woman. And I don't mean drunk where you're openly enjoying yourself and you're just like drunk. I mean drunk to the point where you're falling over, throwing up, don't yelling at people. Like, I don't like that at all. Like, I don't even like getting that drunk anymore, because it's just like, you don't want to have fun. You want to go home, or you want to sit to the side. You either sleep in a spot. Like, I'm good on that. So it's just funny how it's a reflection story time, but it's just how funny how far I've come within the drinking aspect. I refuse. Like, I'll have a glass of wine. I'll chug bottles of wine. No problem. Because at least with wine, I know I'm getting up without a hangover. But as far as, like, drinking, when it comes to hard liquor, tequila, I can't. My body literally won't allow me anymore. Like, I've reached my pinnacle of alcohol. And eventually I'm going to hit my pinnacle there with drugs too. And let me not say drugs, because I've been watching Euphoria, and I want to talk about Euphoria because Zendaya is doing her thing. Zendaya, the actress who plays Jules, the actor who plays Nate, the actor who plays Cassie and Maddie, like, Euphoria, 10 out of 10 in my book. Like, I literally binge watched the entire first season at like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and then I go to bed till 11 o'clock in the morning, and woke up 3 hours later to start season 2. So I just want y'all to know Euphoria is addicting. But back to the main premise. Zendaya does drugs on Euphoria. Those are drugs. Crack, heroin, cocaine. You know, I don't do those things. I just smoke a little tree here and there. So let me not say drugs. I partake in the smoking aspect of weed. So what I was saying about that, though, is ultimately I just not a person who could be involved in the alcohol game anymore. It's over. It's over. At that point, it's just like, excuse me, I just can't be involved anymore. Look at me. I'm yawning at 9. I just want you guys to know I'm recording this at 9:11 p.m. and I just yawn like I've been tired. Like, guys, like, I'm getting old. Like, I just was on the phone with my mom maybe an hour ago, and she's like, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I said, me too. But then I remembered, I'm like, Chantel, you've been lacking. You haven't been consistent on the podcast, so get your ass up and do that. But yeah, you know. But that's just a little bit about the story time. Ever since then, like, I've been very iffy on my drinking choices. Yeah. And I'm a person who, I don't care how drunk I am, I'm not gonna drive. Like, I don't care if I've had 2 shots and I'm not even feeling it. I'm not driving. Like, I refuse to be behind a wheel in any capacity under the influence. Like, if I drink 2 shots, say for example, and then 3 hours later it's time to go home, sure, absolutely. But I will not take 2 shots in an establishment knowing I have to get in a car 15 minutes later. I won't. I refuse. Especially in the state I live in, that's mostly freeway and mileage, I'm good. I live about 40 to 45 miles from the main city, and I'm good on that. 40 to 45 miles equates to about 40 to 45 minutes. But then now let's add the driver speed here, right? Let's times that by 2. Now instead of 45 minutes, it usually takes like an hour 15, hour 20. I'm good. I'm super good. But last but not least, just to wrap it up, because I did talk a lot today, and I can't believe I'm already on 34 minutes, but whatever. Or minute 34. But basically, what other things I wanted to talk about is upcoming stuff coming up. And drum roll. That's a shitty drum roll. I did the drum roll on my own, but of course, obviously, I added it already to the previous sound clip. But yes, I have a forum coming up. This forum basically is going forward and just, doing what I have to do. This forum is about what I have to do. This is what happens when you're trying to search and talk. I can't multitask. But as far as it goes with this forum upcoming, I have a panel of 4 girls and myself talking. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Oh, a panel of myself and 5 other women. Sorry, not girls. I'm like girls. We are all women. We grown. Fuck. Nah, but I'm gonna do a forum with 5 other women where we're just talking on things about being a woman of color in America, what it's like, growing pains from being a young adult to being an adult woman now, and life and how it's hitting us, and how we're using our own platforms and values and whatever we learn to implicate and aid us in our journey of life. I also want to be talking about like what double standards, what women can do that men can't, or what men can do that women can't, etc. Vice versa. And then just reflecting what we have upcoming for the new year, what we would like to do to not only basically, dang, the word is blanking. Like, this is why I can't do it at night, because all my smart words is gone by the morning. By 2 o'clock, bewildered becomes, I don't know, literally. But as far as that goes, it's going to be a lot being done. I have written this down and now I can't find it. This is sick. This is why I got to stop writing so many notes, because after a while I lose them. And that's not good. That's not good at all. But yeah, that's basically what the forum is about. And I'm starting to get frustrated because, here it is. Hello. Family, we'll be talking about family relationships, being a woman of color in America, our goals and dreams, and how we use our values and stuff to pivot us in life. That's the word I was looking for, pivot. Then new things coming up. I also have 2 podcasts this week. Of course, this will be the first. The second will be the Women's Forum, where we're talking about life and etc. So that's pretty awesome. 2 for the price of 1. I know it's been a while. Then secondly, I'm going to start recording for YouTube. I have something really exciting coming up, so I thought it would be the perfect time to record. Not only that, Valentine's Day is coming up, Black History Month's coming up, my birthday's coming up, Super Bowl is coming up. So there's a lot of areas for vlogs to be, orchestrated. So I'm really excited about that. I also want to talk about a page I started. It's called What's the Word Brooklyn, or at WTWBOROOKLYN on Twitter. And then on Instagram is WTWBKLYN. Which is very similarly to a platform out here that, just goes forward and keeps the community in the know, gives any information on new and noteworthy restaurants, any deals during the week, whether it's Taco Tuesday, half price apps, happy hour, etc. So just various things in Brooklyn that, people from Brooklyn, aka Brooklynites, can go and interact with and engage with. So that's pretty awesome. So if you do see that on your feed or on, who you must follow suggested to you, just go forward and follow that page. And if you can, tag, your damn Brooklyn. Even if you're walking by Prospect Park, tag that, there's ducks in the river today. There's never ducks in the river. And I'm like, a river at Prospect Park. Lord, forgive me. Not a river, or, like a creek or a little pond. There was ducks in a pond today. The last time we seen ducks was 2 years ago. Just going forward and, trying to build a narrative about New York and Brooklyn, and how, although we are very nonchalant and very business-minding people, it doesn't hurt to be, have a sense or urgency of community. So that's ultimately what I want to bring. I also created a new page on Instagram and Twitter for the Tizzy Podcast. If you guys know, last time I had my at the Chantizzy Podcast page, some girl was trying to troll me. I trolled back, and Instagram disabled and deleted my account, so I made a new one. The new page is at Chantizzy, Chantizz Podcast, Podcast, on Instagram, and on Twitter it's at TheTizzYPod. So at the Tizzy Pod. So yeah, that's exciting. That's ultimately all I've came to speak about today, and that's my time. But I want to thank everybody for constantly listening. If you're a person who listens often, I really appreciate you. I mean, support is free. This is what I'm usually preaching about constantly about, hey, it doesn't take anything to repost or talk about what's going on. I still mean that seriously. I feel like it's super important to support your friends or support people in your community or just support somebody you don't know. Support goes far, and it's also free. You're not charged to share something. You're not charged to, word of mouth market a platform. So please go out and do that. I will really appreciate it. And last but not least, I remember last time I was talking about my Black Empower Summit. That is still going on. The date will be released shortly. I am aiming to do it again, 2/22/22, which supposedly, funny enough, is my dad's birthday as well. But I'm planning to hold it from 6 to 8. With about 10 to 15 minutes for a networking opportunity. If you are a person who either has a small business or is in a certain industry where people of color may be low or not too often or are breaking barriers, and please send me a message, whether it be via social platforms or via email. You can email me at Chantizzy, CHANTIZZYTV@gmail.com. And I'm just going to go forward and, try to, add you to the lineup. I do have some speakers. The 4 areas I am going to be communicating in or holding webinars for are marketing, communications, radio, TV. That's one syndicate. Then the other will be business, all forms, whether small, big, conglomerate, etc. Then the third will be tech. Those are the 3 areas I'm doing, spiels in. It's actually 3. And then the last will be, of course, a networking area where people of various industries could come forward and connect, whether it's questions about the certain industry you have or trying to integrate into that industry, or what it's like to start a small business. What is it like to be in marketing? How can I be successful in marketing on this platform, even though I'm a chef or I'm a shoemaker or I'm a jewelry maker? Just going forward and having those conversations. So if you are interested, again, I will be putting out the flyer soon, but also I want to make sure that everybody knows that they're more than free to come talk on a platform, come join and listen and get supplemental information, or even share it amongst a group who may be interested. So again, just send me an email at chantizzytv@gmail.com. I spelled it earlier. If you rewind back maybe like a minute, you'll hear it. That was dope. But also, yeah, that's really it. Wishing everybody a fruitful and successful week. Remember, God has you all the time. It's His plan, ultimately, not yours. So as much as you want something to go through, if it's not of God or you didn't speak to Him about it or discuss with Him or, just basically he's not feeling it, it won't work. So, yeah, guys, that's really it. Thank you for always listening. I appreciate it. And yeah, see you next week. Bye. Pretty crowded where you are, baby. I know that you want me. Come and tell me how you like it. You can have it how you want it. So bring your ass my way. Do it to me, boy. You want to do it right here with me, boy. I know that you watching my body, got you insane. I can tell that you the one. Girl, you looking so dangerous. That's why I want you, babe. I'm trying to see what's up with us. I can tell that you the one. Girl, you looking so dangerous. That's why I want you. Something about the way you do those things to me. There's something about the way you do those things to me. There's something about the way you do those things to me. Do those things to me. You're doing those things to me. Oh, girl, I'm tired of wasting time. I want you now, yeah. Girl, I'm trying to make a move. I know you down. Just tell me what to do when you're trying to leave. Are you leaving with me? One more shot, let's go. Do it to me, boy. You wanna do it right here with me, boy. I know that you watching.
that you the one. I can tell that you the one. Girl, you're looking so dangerous. That's why I